Over at the Warner offices, they are breathing a huge sigh of relief right about now, as despite negative reviews and being hung out to dry in the media, Batman v Superman just scored a solid opening weekend. In this video, I'll talk about the importance of DC to Warner, how test screenings made them nervous, and the preliminary box office success despite negative reviews. Even so, they have to take the mixed response to heart and course correct, and here there is one lesson they really should take from Marvel, something which they should have done years ago. Following the natural conclusions of the Harry Potter, Hobbit and Dark Knight franchises, Warner has gone into something of a slump the last couple of years. 2015 in particular was rough for them, with both Jupiter Ascending, Pan and In the Heart of the Sea flopping. Already in 2014, however, Warner CEO Kevin Feige decided that the DC universe would be the new tentpole for the House of Bunny going forward, announcing a slate of 10 movies to come in the next 5 years, all spun off from the postulated success of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. As such, a lot rides on Batman v Superman, as Warner banks on it to pave the way for the rest of the cinematic DC universe. In the hypothetical event that Batman v Superman either failed or catastrophically underperformed, the heads of the key decision makers behind Batman v Superman, including that of Kevin Feige, would all be on the chopping block. So yeah, the pressure was on. Warner first started to show the finished movie to test audiences earlier this year, and the response was not as they had hoped, but instead in line with the critic response we see right now. We learned of this from Drew McWeeny of HitFix, who has his sources in order. He is also not afraid of breaking scoops, as he was the one who revealed to the world just how rotten things were at Fox under Rothman back when he worked for Ain't It Cool News under the moniker of Moriarty. Click the link for more on that. According to McWeeny, Warner were so nervous about how the movie would be received that the entire announced DC slate could be in jeopardy, as they might have to rebuild instead of proceeding with the original slate of films. Suicide Squad is already in the can, Wonder Woman is in production, so it's too late to do anything about those, but according to McWeeny, Justice League could very well be pushed back. Snyder relieved of his directing duties, and a Batman movie moved up to take its release spot, while Justice League is sent back to the drawing board. Furthermore, as Warner had sunk $400 million into it, Batman v Superman would have to gross minimum $1 billion worldwide in order for people to keep their jobs. Despite being savaged by critics and the media, Batman v Superman did great business at the box office in its opening weekend, much to the relief of everyone involved. The movie grossed an estimated $170 million domestically in its opening weekend, which is the biggest opening weekend ever for a Warner release in the US. However, this is down from initial estimates that had it placed higher, and it opened lower than both Avengers movies as well as Iron Man 3, so the negative reviews might have softened the opening somewhat, although it is impossible to ascertain by how much. Internationally, the movie opened with $254 million, 57 of which came from day and date opening in China. While these are excellent numbers, it is only Warner's second biggest international opening, coming in at $60 million behind the final Harry Potter movie. In short though, Batman v Superman is off to a great start at the box office worldwide. The question now is how it will hold up over the upcoming weeks. It is not yet out of the danger zone. Man of Steel also opened big but dropped hard and fast in the coming weeks. The same happened with The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was also intended to kickstart the cinematic universe. We all saw how that went. Will Batman v Superman carry on all the way to the billion the studio wants, or will it fall short of that? No one can say for sure until next weekend's box office numbers are in, and we start seeing how word of mouth will affect the movie's legs. Even if the movie has legs and goes on to gross $1 million and beyond, I think it is very likely that Warner will have to take a step back and reassess their plans for the DC expanded universe going forward. With the negative critic response and decidedly mixed fan response the movie was met with, Warner is unlikely to stick their heads in the sand and pretend everything is okay just because the opening weekend was great. A course correction is necessary, and they know it. There is no question that they will move on with their DC universe, but the creative direction they are moving in, as well as the exact slate following the movies already in production, could very well be modified. They will no doubt look very closely at statistics and audience feedback over the next couple of weeks and quite possibly amend their plans accordingly. Justice League is set to begin filming on April 11th, helmed by Zack Snyder, so their first decision will be whether or not to proceed as planned with that, or to delay it pending further investigation. Since Affleck's Batman has gone down well, and with CinemaScore reports suggesting that 62% of the audience came out to see Batman, I would not be surprised if they want to get some more Batman movies in there sooner rather than later. Regardless of whether or not they delay Justice League and put the Batman movie in its place, I want whatever they do to work, click with fans, and launch a cinematic universe that will equal Marvel's in terms of consistent quality and popularity. That's the one situation that benefits everyone, as great comic book movies are a rising tide that floats all boats, including Marvel's, while high-profile misfires place all comic book movies at risk, regardless of who put it out. As such, I want Warner to make DC work, but what worries me is that they still haven't solved the management problem that has plagued them since they first tried to launch a DC cinematic universe with Green Lantern. What baffles me is that in all the lessons they could and should have taken from Marvel, they have failed to grasp the most important one as to why Marvel Studios are so successful. The not particularly well-hidden secret behind Marvel's success isn't the visuals or the director, which is where Warner seems to have placed their focus, but the one pulling the strings behind the scenes, namely Kevin Feige. More specifically, it isn't Kevin Feige the person who matters, but his role as the architect and administrator of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a role Kevin Feige the person just happens to be right for. For those who might not be aware, Kevin Feige runs Marvel Studios. He, no doubt helped by the best of the comic book writers as well as other movie producers, has come up with an overall storyline for the cinematic Marvel universe, an overarching tapestry where each individual movie is but one piece of a larger puzzle. Feige and his cronies therefore know how each movie in this tapestry should begin and end and have a rough idea of what happens in the middle. Then they hire filmmakers who have the right sensibilities for the particular story in question to flesh it out into the best story possible within the predetermined parameters of the overall tapestry. Sometimes they find more suitable directors than others, but since Feige's focus is on the larger tapestry, the cinematic Marvel universe will never veer off course even if one movie fails to click. This is possible because Feige is himself neither a writer nor a director and will as such not be blinded by too much closeness to any one piece of the puzzle. By comparison, Warner is a rudderless ship. There is a plan for the DC universe too, but from what we can tell, not nearly as detailed nor carefully crafted as the one at Marvel. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman and Justice League were all set to be developed by writer David Goyer for director Zack Snyder. The problem here, of course, is that Goyer is no better a writer than whatever director he is writing for, and Snyder isn't much of a storyteller. When Affleck came aboard, he brought writer Chris Terrio with him, who proceeded to rewrite Goyer's scripts for Batman v Superman and Justice League, but neither Terrio nor Goyer wrote the scripts for Suicide Squad or Wonder Woman, although Zack Snyder produces the former of the two but not the latter. So who is running the DC ship? Seemingly a bunch of different writers and producers, all possibly with different ideas and reality perceptions, which probably leads them to be reactionary and pull in different directions. But there is no "the buck stops here" guy. There is no one person tasked with being sure there is a plan, that the plan works, and that they stick to it. Until they restructure their management in such a way that someone is given that responsibility, I fear they will continue to be reactionary and short-sighted. and at worst take all the wrong lessons from the mixed response of Batman v Superman, as some producers are prone to do. Of course, this will still happen anyway if they appoint someone to that position, but they appoint the wrong person. It can't be Zack Snyder, as he is a visualist, not a storyteller. It also can't be David Goyer. As screenwriter of several movies, he is too closely involved in the individual movies to have the oversight of the whole tapestry, and this goes for Chris Terrio too. They need someone with the right mix of film sensibility as well as understanding of the source material. Any good ideas who? Let me know in the comments, and I wouldn't be surprised if Warner is open to ideas as well. We'll keep you up to date with whatever happens next in the DC universe here at Midnight's Edge.
If you liked this video, don't forget to hit subscribe so you can catch all of our upcoming videos. For more podcasts, news, and reviews, check us out at midnightsedge.net and follow us on Twitter at midnightsedge. Also check out our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/midnightsedge.